Hello students. So in this video lecture, we are going to talk about the fuel feed pump. In my last video lecture, we talked about the fuel injection system in diesel engine, and I showed you the line diagram as well. Let me refresh your memory. Let me show you the diagram again. So I have already shown you this diagram. This is the fuel injection system in a diesel engine. You can see there's a fuel tank where the fuel is stored. Then when the fuel cork is opened, with the help of a hand primer pump, it moves to a filter. From the filter, after getting filtered, it goes into the injection pump. And from the injection pump, the fuel is pressurized to a high pressure, and then it is sent to the injectors. As you can see here, the fuel tank is located at a much height than the injection pump. You can see there's a height difference between the injection pump and fuel tank. I told you then also, this is done so that the fuel which will come down from the fuel tank and enter inside the injection pump, here you can see with the help of gravity only, it can easily move down to the injection pump. The fuel moves down by the help of gravity to the injection pump. So this case is possible only in some stationary engines, in some stationary engine cases where the fuel tank can be located at such a height than the injection pump. But generally, in some cases, in some of the moving cases of engine, this is not possible. The fuel tank is not able to be kept at a height than the injection pump. And also, just like in our bikes or four-wheelers, the fuel tank has to be kept very much away from the injection pump so that any kind of leakage does not affect the engine. As you can see, the tank is very near to the engine. If any leakage happens here, it might affect the engine. So we have to ensure that this fuel tank is somewhat away from the engine. So how is this possible? Just like in my last video class, I told you in some cases there are two pumps used. Just like here we have only one injection pump which injects from filter to the injectors. There is another pump which is placed somewhere here so that it is placed before the filter, and from the filter then it goes to the injection pump. So that pump is known as your fuel feed pump. I can show you this diagram. See, see the fuel tank, and this is your high pressure inline pump or your injector pump. So you can see there is, as the fuel tank is not above the fuel injector pump, it is somewhere below. So this I can't work with the help of gravity. So in such case, a fuel tank is connected to a fuel feed pump, so that the fuel feed pump takes up the fuel and pressurizes it, not very high, but at least pressurizes the fuel, and then it sends to the filter. From the filter, it goes to the high pressure inline pump or the injection pump, just like your last diagram. See this injection pump. This injection pump is this one, and from the injection pump it goes to the injector, and from injector there is one bypass or the return line, just as we had here. See, this was the leakage pipe or leak of pipe. From the injector it goes back to the fuel tank, and from the pump also one line goes back to the fuel tank. Similarly here, from the injector one line goes back to the fuel tank, and from the pressure injection pump one line goes back to the fuel tank. So we have, this is an injected feed pump which is an extra pump placed when we need to pump the fuel from the fuel tank to the your injection pump. So A fuel feed pump, as we discussed, fuel has to be fed to diesel engine or vehicle under pressure of about 1 atm, as the quantity of fuel delivered would be otherwise inadequate. Only in stationary engine and some tractors, a gravity feed tank means the fuel tank at a higher height can be placed so at higher levels so as to provide sufficient pressure. Hence, in diesel driven vehicle, fuel has to be pumped to the injection pump, and hence a fuel feed pump is used to meet this demand. So how does the fuel feed pump acts? Generally, the fuel feed pump is either a single acting pump or a double acting pump or a double acting feed pump. So what is this single acting or double acting? We must remember in fluid mechanics we have been already read about the single acting reciprocating pump and the double acting reciprocating pump. So the mode of working is basically the same. Let me show you some figure. If you remember, this is your single acting reciprocating pump. See, single acting means there would be a suction valve or your inlet valve, and this is your discharge or your outlet valve. So this is the piston which is connected to a crankshaft. So the single acting pump acts like this. When the piston goes down, then there is suctions take place. When the piston moves up, discharge takes place. You can see down, suction, up, discharge. Just similarly, your single acting pump works only in case of crankshaft. There is a cam and follower. The cam and follower action, the cam and follower is connected to the piston, to this piston, and this piston, according to the action of cam and follower, the piston moves up and down. Otherwise, the working in basically the same. With downward motion, there is suction. With upward motion, there is discharge. This is your single acting feed pump. Similarly, I have a double acting. We have already gone through this also in fluid mechanics. Your double acting means there will be two inlet valves and two outlet valves. You can see this one inlet opens when the piston moves up, see, and the piston moves down, this is discharged. See, inlet, suction, this is discharge. The suction, this is discharge. And you can see when there is suction over here, see suction, there is delivery over here, there is discharge over here. And when here it is delivery, there is suction over here. See, suction, here delivery, here suction. So it means in one stroke of the piston, both suction and discharge are taking place, but in the opposite sides. So if here suction, then here delivery, discharge, here delivery, then here there will be suction. So this is your double acting. Same in a feed pump, double acting feed pump, there will be two inlets and two outlets, and this piston will be connected to your cam and follower. Due to the action of cam and follower, this piston moves up and down, and accordingly there is a suction and delivery, and similarly here there is suction and delivery. So this is your mode of working of your single acting pump and your double acting feed pump. This brings us into this chapter. In the next video class, we will be starting suspension system.